let me ask one question, one observation, then we'll move forward for day one of AWE. Uh, in Apple Vision, you bought one, Paolo
Mhm.
bought one. Can you look at a Matterport tour within a Apple Vision Pro?
Yes. Yes, you can. But it's a web experience. So I went into my website, for example, anybody who is a Matterport photographer should know that through we call WebXR. So remember, there are apps and then there's WebXR, which is us being able to reach or to be able to view and manipulate and have 3D objects 3D objects accessible to us on the web. Um, for many years, for a few years now, Matterport spaces have been spatial it's like spatial XR enabled through the embed code, right? So if you look at those embed codes, you'll see it's enabled for spatial viewing. Now, what's cool about that is if you use the most recent code and you put that on any website, that if someone is viewing that space on a Quest, right, like on a Meta Quest 2 or a Meta Quest device, then it will recognize it and you will be able to load the experience. Right now on the Vision Pro, you cannot load that experience with Matterport other than in a web browser. Now, it's cool because you're still viewing it immersed and you can dial out reality, but it's not a better experience in the Vision Pro as opposed to a more immersive experience like being in a Meta Quest at this time. Matterport may in the future do that, or CoStar future owner of Matterport may put resources behind it, but I don't know yet, Dan.
Okay, so it's an immersive experience, but it's not the promise of a spatial data 3D model that feels like you're walking through the space.
No, it's you can have that experience very easily on a Meta Quest, but right now it
But not Apple Vision Pro.
does not function on the Vision Pro.
Okay.
Matterport does not have an app on the Vision Pro, and their spatial tracking does not launch the models on a Vision Pro. The exception to that is if you take there's always an exception. If you take your 3D model, or if you take, for example, a drone map, say you have a drone map that you have converted into one of the standard file formats like USDZ or GLTF, then those files easily through Sketchfab or through even Keynote on the Vision Pro can be viewed in 3D. And it's very, very cool. And then you are seeing and playing with that Matterport model in 3D right in front of you. But it's the 3D model, it's not the tour. So I just want to be very clear about what you're able to experience. And again, the hackers like Paolo, and his team, I'm sure, are coming up with very cool experiences. And it is
then let me
possible
do
to
this.
develop, but
Let me
it's not it's not an app.
Let me make one observation, get your reaction, then we'll move on to day one. So at the moment, Apple Vision Pro, let's see, there's photos, video, aerial, drone, floor plans, virtual staging. Apple Vision Pro is its own medium into itself, and it just may be another tool or how video gets recorded, let's say on an iPhone 15 Pro Max, that is a immersive experience within Apple Vision Pro, totally separate from Matterport or 3D or 360. It may be just another way for a high-end property to enable people to experience a space that either doesn't exist yet or exists, but you can't go see it right now because the model is built out, but it's still a construction site and you can't walk on site. Fair enough to say today, for a real estate photographer trying to understand the impact, Apple Vision Pro is a standalone medium of itself.
Yeah, It's a touch point. I don't want to say that it's a medium. I think it's no different than in the way that the internet can you can connect to your internet through your phone, through your watch, through your computer, through many different devices. They have different features, and I think that the Apple Vision Pro as a touch point to digital media enables you to see content in the highest fidelity right now, because it's like having an IMAX on your face. It's like you can see high fidelity content and you're able to, you know, use your hands and gestures and use it with gaze tracking. It's a different interface.
Yeah,
It's a
Emily,
different touch point,
yeah,
but I wouldn't say that it is for our content. It will enable very cool things in the future, but we haven't seen those come to market yet. And
Emily,
also,
excuse me,